Where's Mrs. Justice? She's supposed to be here. We have a lesson to work on. I don't know where she is. Guess I'll go into school and ask. Oh well. Mrs. Justice! Mrs. Justice!
What?
What are you doing here?
I'm at Kohl's. My Kohl's cash is getting ready to expire.
We were supposed to meet at school today.
But I know, but it expires today, and it's so important. Like, they're closed. What am I going to do?
Can't you spend it online?
Oh. Yeah, I guess I could.
I mean, we're doing learning online.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll see you at school.
Okay. What is that in your hand?
Mom, McDonald's Coke.
Seriously?
Listen, I need my caffeine.
You go to Kohl's, go to McDonald's, and now look. We can't get in.
Well, I mean, it's not really my fault, really, I don't think. It's not my fault.
So
Listen. Let me tell you. So I need my caffeine, like, to function. I need this. And my Kohl's cash, I have like $10 in Kohl's cash, and it expired today. So I had to use it. And then they were closed. So it was not my fault. They were closed.
we've been on quarantine for how long?
Well, listen, the governor's talking about reopening the state. I thought maybe Kohl's was open.
It's just okay.
Whatever. I'm trying to be positive here.
Let's be positive.
Okay.
Okay, let's be positive.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Maybe I'm just getting a little hangry.
Maybe
Maybe.
I should have gotten you a Coke.
Maybe.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, even though the gate's closed, we can still teach, right?
Right.
We can still teach.
Yeah.
We'll just teach at the gate.
Okay.
We're going to teach at the gate.
We're going to teach at the gate.
Yes.
Okay. So, we're talking about mean, median, mode, and range.
Yeah, they're called measures of central tendency.
How weird is that?
Yeah, it is a little strange, but that's what they're called.
Okay. So, when we're talking about the mean, we're talking about the average. And so, when you talk about the average, you take all of the numbers you have, you add them all up, and then you divide by the amount of numbers in the set. And that will give you your mean.
I think, Miss Ellis, that you forgot one important thing.
I did.
What should we always do first?
We should always put the numbers in order from least to greatest.
See, that's why we need each other.
That is why we need
That's
each other.
That's why we're a good team. We need each other to remind each other, finish each other's sentences and thoughts and all that.
This is true.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was mean.
Yeah. Okay, so median, another word for median is the middle. So think about the interstate that we have behind us. The grassy area in the middle is called the median. So what we're going to do first is we're going to always put the numbers in order from least to greatest. And then you're going to kind of move in from the smallest number to biggest number until you get to the middle number. Sometimes you can have two numbers that are in the middle, and when you do that, you have to add them together and divide by 2, and that will give you the median.
Okay. And next is the mode, and that's my favorite because it's the number that you see the mostest. Not that that's really a word, but I like that word. So again, we want all the numbers in order from least to greatest, and then you just look and you find the number that you see the most. You can have more than one mode, but those numbers have to be repeated the exact same amount of number of times. And you can have no mode, meaning no numbers are repeated, but you have to write no mode. Do not write 0, because 0 could actually be a mode.
All right, and then last we have range, and range is the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number in your data set. So you're going to take your biggest number, you're going to subtract your smallest number, and that will be your range. So if you have 20 as your biggest number and 5 as your smallest number, you're going to do 20 minus 5 and you get 15 as your range.
So there you have mean, median, mode, and range.
All right, so here in just a second, I'm going to lead you all in some practice with problems like this. So here we go.
Have fun.
All right, guys, we are ready for some practice here. So we are going to answer just a few questions. It says here, what exactly are these measures of central tendency? So the first one here is the mean. Another word for mean is the average. So think about your percentage in class. That is your average or your mean of all of the scores that you have gotten. All right, to find the mean, you first add the numbers together. And I'm going to shorten this a little bit just because I'm writing it out and it kind of gets wordy sometimes. So add the numbers together. Then divide by how many numbers are in this set. All right. So let's say you were adding all of your scores up for class. Let's say that there were 15 different grades. You would add all of them together and then you would divide by 15 because there were 15 different grades given. All right, for median, another word for median is middle. So we like to always kind of give the example. Think about the median on the interstate. You have the lanes eastbound, westbound, and the median is in the middle. To find the median, you first put the numbers in order. So put the numbers in order and then find the middle number. So usually what we do, and you'll see when we do examples, usually what we do is we put them in order from least to greatest. That's very important, least to greatest. And we start usually with the smallest number and the biggest number. And usually we kind of move our fingers toward the middle to find the middle number. Well, sometimes you have two numbers that are in the middle. So if there are two numbers in the middle, you're going to add them together. You're going to add them and then divide by 2. All right, for the mode, another word for mode is most. So we think about the number that we see the most often in the data set. So to find the mode, you first put the numbers in order. Sorry, I'm trying to shorten this a little bit. So putting the numbers in order, and once again, that is always from least to greatest. You have to remember that part. It's least to greatest. And then find the number that is repeated or occurs most often. If there is no mode, you write no mode or none, but do not put 0. If you put 0, that means that 0 was in your data set, when that may not be the case. So if there is no mode, you either put no mode, you can put none, just don't put 0. Another thing to remember is sometimes you can have two modes. So maybe in your data set you had two 15s and then you had also two 23s. So you can have two modes or three modes. You can have multiple modes. So that's possible as well. All right, for your range, to find the range, you first put the numbers in order. See a pattern here? You always put your numbers in order from least to greatest. And it's great to get in the habit of doing that because you're going to see this stuff again next year and probably in 8th grade and into high school. So if you get in the habit now, that's going to be very, very helpful. All right, so to find the range, you're going to put your numbers in order from least to greatest. Don't forget. And then subtract your smallest number, so small number from your big number. So let's say your biggest number was 20, and then your smallest number in your set was 5. You're going to do 20 minus 5, and you're going to get 15. So now let's go into some practice here. All right. So if we look at the first problem, it says the amount of money Hannah has earned the last 5 times she has babysat are $40, $55, $80, $74, and $40. All right, so I chose this one just because there's a little bit of space, and the ones that we're going to do after this, there's some space for us to work, so I don't have to go back and forth between screens. So what we're going to do first is we are going to, I hope you know, we are going to put these in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to do 40. And then if it helps you to mark it out as you go, right now we have a pretty small data set, but sometimes you get numbers, like you can have up to 10, 15. Sometimes as you get older, you might see data sets with quite a few numbers, and it's helpful to go ahead and mark them out. All right, I have another 40. And then I have 55. I have 74. And then I have 80. All right, so to find my mean, I am going to add these together. So I'm going to write it out. 40 plus 40 plus 55 plus 74 plus 80 equals, let me get out my handy calculator here so that I can figure out, maybe I should have done this beforehand, but I didn't. So we'll do this together. 40 plus 40 plus 55 plus 74 plus 80 equals 289. I hope you got 289 as well. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to do 289 divided by how many numbers I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers in my set. So I'm going to do 289 divided by 5, and I get 57.8. So that is my mean. However, if you remember, we're writing this in money. So there's something we cannot forget at the end here. We don't ever see money written as 57.8. So we have to add our 0. So it's $57.80. So that's kind of her average that she made. All right, the median, we're going to find our middle number. So we're going to start, and we can kind of mark it out as we go. I'm going to start with the low end and also the high end. So I'm going to mark out my 40, and then my 80, and then my 40, and then my 74. And if you look here in the middle, our median is 55. It's $55. Now let's look back at our data. I know that I marked it out, but let's go ahead and look at it. I can still see it. What number occurs the most often? If we look, we have 240. So the mode for this set of data is $40. And then my last step here is my range. I'm going to take my big number, $80. I'm going to subtract my small number, which is $40, and I get 40. Is 40. All right, so here's our first problem here. If at any time you need to pause the video, remember that you can do that. You can go back if you get confused or you're not sure why we did something. You can always go back and you can look at this problem again. All right, on to the next problem. It says the cost of 6 pairs of jeans are $75, $120, $45, $60, $70, and $40. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is to put these numbers in order from least to greatest. So I have 40, I have 45. I'm going to mark them out as I go. Keeps me organized. 60, 70, 75. Oh, I'm not doing a very good job of marking these out. 75 and then 120. Okay. So now that they're in order from least to greatest, the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the mean. So what we're going to do is we are going to add all of these numbers together. So I'm going to do 40 plus 45 plus 60 plus 70 plus 75 plus 120. All right, so let's do that together. We have 40 plus 45 plus 60 plus 70 plus 75 plus 120. So we should get 410. I'm going to take that 410 and I'm going to divide by how many numbers we have in the set. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 410 divided by 6 is 68.3, and it repeats and repeats and repeats, so we're just going to do $68.33. So remember, we have to have two numbers after the decimal when we're dealing with money. So we have 68.33. All right, for our median, remember, we're going to kind of mark it as we go. We start with the smaller number and bigger number and kind of move toward the middle. So I'm going to mark out the 40 and 120, the 45 and 75. And notice we have two numbers in the middle. So when we have something like that, we just add the two numbers together. So I'm going to do 60 plus 70. That equals 130. And then I divide by 2 since there were two middle numbers. And 130 divided by 2 is 65. So $65 is our median. All right, our mode. We have to look for a number that occurs the most often. So if you look at what we have, there are no numbers that repeat, so we're just going to put no mode. Remember, don't put 0, because then that would mean that 0 was within our data set, and if you notice, it's not. All right, and then our range, I'm going to take our big number, 120, minus 40, and when we do that, we get 80. So our range is $80. All right, the next problem here, test scores of 7 students. So we have all of our percents. We're going to put it in order from least to greatest. So we have 50. We have 62%. We have 66%. We have 80%. We have 83%. We have 95%, and then we have 100%. All right, so our mean, we're going to add those together. So I'm going to do 50 plus 62 plus 66 plus 80 plus 83 plus 95 plus 100. So let's add those together. So we have 50 plus 62 plus 66 plus 80 plus 83 plus 95 plus 100. All right, so we get 536, but then to get the mean, we have to do our 536 divided by how many numbers we have in our set, which in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when we divide that by 7, we get 76 point, it's 57, we'll just round it to 0.6. So it's 76.6%. All right, So now let's look at our median. We're going to start with our smaller number and our bigger number, kind of mark out as we go. So I'm going to mark out 50 and 100, 62 and 95, 66 and 83, and notice here in the middle we have 80. So our median is 80%. All right, so now we're going to look for the mode. That's the number that occurs the most often. If you look at this set, there are no numbers that repeat. So since that's the case, I'm just going to put no mode. I'm not going to put 0 because that means that 0 was within our data set and it was not. All right, last step, range. I'm going to take my big number, which was 100%. I'm going to subtract my smallest number, which was 50%. And when I do 100 minus 50, I get 50. So our range is 50%. All right, last problem here, the number of people to enter the movie theater in the last 8 days. Well, it's not the last 8 days here. So anyway, let's look at this. So we have bigger numbers now, but we're going to solve it the same exact way. So let's look at what we have. It looks like our smallest number is 321. And then looks like 355. And that's especially important to mark out as you go when you're even dealing with bigger numbers. That way you don't miss anything. Looks like our next one is 486. And then 530. And then looks like 697. 864. 894, and then 953. All right. Mean, we're going to add them together. So I'm not going to rewrite it this time just to save time, but we're going to add them together. So 321 plus 355 plus 486 plus 530 plus 697 plus 864 plus 894 plus 953. All right, I got 5,100. And remember, I want to divide by how many numbers we have in our set. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we kind of knew that too, just because it said in the last 8 days. So we're going to divide our 5,100 by 8. And we get 637.5. 637.5. Now our median, our middle number, I'm going to start at the smallest number and go to the biggest number, and I'm just going to mark out as I go. Notice I have 2 middle numbers, so I have to add those 2 together. So I'm going to do 530 plus 697. I get 1,227. And then I divide by 2 since I had 2 numbers. And I get 613.5. And that is my median. All right, my mode. Let's see if anything repeats. It doesn't look like anything repeats, so kind of an odd thing. We don't have a mode for this one either. And then our range, I'm going to take my 953, which is my bigger number. I'm going to subtract my smallest number, which is 321. So I'm going to do 953 minus 321, and I get 632. And that is my range. That is it for practice. Remember, at any time you can go back in the videos and you can rewatch it. You can also you can even make up your own problems, but hopefully this has been a help to you. Have a great day.